Yep.
Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This your host, Bad Luck Chuck. We back at it again with another episode, Donkey Week Part Two. We gonna go ahead and try to finish out the season strong, and of course, we're gonna need some help to get that number one seed in the AFC. But before we get to all that, let me introduce the guys here. Top right hand corner is my guy Country. Bottom right hand corner is my guy Boogie. And our return special guest, I believe our third return special guest, he's from the Athletic, Chiefs writer. He's also got on the podcast Times Ours with Seth Kaiser and Joshua Briscoe. So we'd like to welcome back Nate Taylor to this week's episode of Kingdom Cast. How you doing,
You
Nate?
said, did you say Kaiser?
Is it
Kaiser,
Kaiser?
he don't mind.
Kaiser,
He won't mind.
tomato. All right.
Yeah. How you doing? Good to see y'all. Like what we talked, I guess, like shortly after the draft, right? Or before. I mean, man, it's been a minute. Obviously, thanks for having me back. I guess we reached the end of this stupid 18-week season. But no, I'm doing well. I'm trying to stay warm. I mean, it's brutal out here.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. At least we're not in Minnesota or anything, so they got it worse.
True.
So, so yeah, man. Just kick things off, man. This week we know what the scenario is. With us having to take care of business tomorrow in Denver, it should be no issue for us. But then we also got to have Tennessee lose to Houston. So let's cut to the chase on that real quick. Um, I looked at every single angle of that Houston Tennessee game, and I feel like Houston actually has a chance. And it's not based on the first matchup either, because we all know they beat the brakes off Tennessee in the first matchup in Tennessee, and now they're gonna be playing at home. Their home field advantage not that great, but still. Nate, do you think Houston has a chance to help us out here on Sunday if we do take care of business tomorrow?
You might. I think. I mean, yeah. I mean, tomorrow's game is going to be weird, just because the Broncos have no incentive to win that game. Maybe like Vic Fangio does, because he's trying to figure out where he may go if he gets fired. Kansas City's own Drew Lock. I've already started like thinking about like where could he be a backup, because I don't know like if he's gonna be sticking around Denver. The Broncos don't need to win the game. They need draft picks. They need to increase the value of their draft picks. They can't make it to the playoffs. They're already eliminated, right? So as we discuss this, like I'm just assuming the Chiefs will win. They need everybody to stay healthy, because they could play in the playoffs next weekend if Tennessee beats Houston on Sunday. So yeah, if the Chiefs win, it's like all the pressure now shifts to Tennessee, because they are the 1 seed. They've obviously got the tiebreaker because they beat the Chiefs in like late October, I believe. And so now I was looking at I remember watching the highlights, and I looked at the box score today about like that first matchup between Houston and Tennessee. And it was just Ryan Tannehill's worst game of the season. Like he threw a couple of just awful interceptions. They couldn't run the ball well. For Houston, it would be cool if it'd be cool for their season. Like I didn't think David Cutley could get that team 4 wins, let alone a chance for 5. So there's a chance. I mean, look, there were COVID situations going on with both teams, but like the Chargers look like trash for 45 of their 60-minute loss to the Texans. They need turnovers. They need like Rex Burkhead or somebody to go off. I like Davis Mills. I gotta say, it's kind of fun. It's like, I didn't think he was necessarily going to be this good, but he is. So there's a chance. And I mean, what I try to tell people is like these athletes are human. Like they know. Like Tennessee will fly to Houston tomorrow. So whenever they land, the Chiefs will probably either have started their game or it'll be midway through. And so most of those Titans, they'll know the outcome of the game by the time they get to their team hotel in Houston. And so whatever the outcome is, they know, all right, like we gotta be right tomorrow. Like we gotta handle our business. We gotta win the game. Yeah, that's a very good point from Chris. Like, hey, maybe Brandon Cook does go off. Who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened though, right? I mean, I think everything in 2019 felt like a Disney movie. Is the comparison I make, because ain't no way in this God green earth that Ryan Fitzpatrick should have led the Miami Dolphins to beat the New England Patriots in New England. So it's happened before, and obviously that let the Chiefs get a bye week in the 2019 postseason, which obviously they went on to win the Super Bowl. So there's a chance, Chuck. I don't know, but at the same time, it's like everybody should start thinking about Monday Night Football on Wild Card Weekend, because I think that's where this is headed.
Nate, I want to ask you a question. Why is that picking up so much steam with this Monday night playoff thing? Where did that come from? And just talk about that.
No, it's a good point, Boogie. I don't know why we did this to ourselves, right? Like the playoffs were kind of perfect in my opinion before. Like we don't even need like the 7th team. I was cool with, that was fine. But this year, because they went from a 16-game season to a 17-game season, ESPN, I think wisely, ABC, Disney was like, can we get an extra playoff game? And the league was like, okay, that's fine. And the league was like, you know what? Every rating will tell you on TV. People will watch a Monday Night Football game. Like, I'm gonna admit this. I watched Vikings Bears on Monday Night Football last month. It was a terrible decision, but I watched it.
Oh Lord.
Like, it wasn't good, but it's like, hey, it's like, my wife, I guess they're changing it now because I guess they don't do this during football season. But it's like, the only thing that's on Monday from ABC standpoint is like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. So if they can get another week of football in the playoffs, that'll get a huge rating. And so the league agreed to that. I don't think players or coaches were like thrilled about it. The problem is, Boogie, that the Chiefs have too good of a quarterback. Like, if you tell anybody, wow, the Chiefs didn't get the first round bye, so that's kind of a surprise in and of itself. And they're going to host a playoff game against maybe the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Like, that's going to do a huge rating. And so this is the first year that they've ever had a postseason game on Monday night as part of Wild Card Weekend. I just assume that the two teams the league will probably pick is either the Cowboys, because they don't have the first round bye. They have to play on opening week, and I think it'll probably be the Chiefs. I just think it'll be Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Brandon Staley, Andy Reid. Like it'll be a hype train to get that game on Monday Night Football, so that ESPN can have a very, very high rating, which obviously helps the league because television dollars, advertising dollars, and that revenue will obviously help the salary cap towards next season.
So one more time, it is official. Someone is playing on Monday Night Wild Card.
Yes, sir. It is. It's going to be strange. And let me add another element to this too, because I was talking to some people a few days ago, and I think I said this on Times Ours, but because the Chiefs, if they win, now this is all sort of built on if they win. Like if they beat the Broncos, they're the 2 seed. So that means they'll have a home playoff game on Wild Card Weekend. If the Chiefs win, one of the arguments the league could say is if you win, you're not traveling the next week. You would host another home playoff game. You would play the higher seed while the Titans will host the lower seed in the divisional round. So you can make that argument like, hey, it would be on a short week. You would be going from Monday to Sunday, kind of like you do in the regular season. But I think I'll be surprised if it's not the Chiefs or not the Cowboys. I'm actually going to look this up real quick, like what the divisional, what the conference standings are, because I don't know. It's tough because I feel like the Cowboys could still be a higher seed. It depends on what happens with Tampa Bay and Los Angeles, but I don't know, fellas. I just think they're gonna put Arrowhead on Monday night with Patrick Mahomes in perhaps a 3-part with the Chargers. And so it'll be tough. It'll be exciting, but that game is going to be Monday, January 17th at 7:15 our time. So,
I hope you is wrong. I hope you're wrong, Nate. I really do.
I
I hope so bad.
I think everybody in the Chiefs organization would hope I'm wrong too, but I don't make those decisions. Roger Goodell makes those decisions. And look, like I also think too, depending upon what the bracket is, right? Fox could say, we need the Cowboys. They are our top franchise in terms of ratings. A Cowboy playoff game, we're not giving that up. With Troy Aikman, obviously Joe Buck, like we're not trying to give that up. I think for CBS, they're kind of in a pickle just because I get the sense that if Tennessee's your 1 seed, well, that's where Tony Romo and Jim Nantz are probably going to go because that's going to be a very close game, you would assume, whoever they get in round 2. And so the league could say ESPN is going to get the top AFC seed, which would be the Chiefs at the 2 seed. And then CBS will have to decide what they want to do with their top, time slot that Sunday on both Sundays, basically. On Sunday for Wild Card Weekend and then Sunday for the divisional round.
But I think CBS would be all right getting the Bengals game. I mean, with Romo, I think that'd be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Bengals are like the darling of the league. Like, I don't know how it happened, when it happened. I mean, they are exciting, but yeah, everybody kind of loves the Bengals, and that's built off the Chiefs, the Chiefs losing to them.
3rd and 27.
Yeah. Yep.
So I got a different opinion on the Chargers, but we'll get to that later on down the line with the AFC playoff scenarios. But yeah, man, we'll see how this wild card Monday goes, man. But I think it will do numbers. The NFL saw opportunity for more money to make more money, so that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, look, if you got Mahomes versus Herbert, part 3.
Woo!
You want that by itself, bro. You don't want nothing else conflicting with that, bro. You want that all by itself. That's too much money, bro.
I'm just saying.
On the weekend, man, not on a Monday. Come on, man.
Even if it's like the Colts, right? Like, say it's Jonathan Taylor. Can the Colts run, keep the ball away? Darius Leonard is really good for the Colts, their linebacker. So I mean, I don't know if it matters who the opponent is, but I think you're right, country. Like the Chargers beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. The Chiefs in like an amazing classic game beat the Chargers coming back from behind, winning on Kelsey's game winner in overtime. I mean, who does it? Like, I don't know. Did we just give them the promo right now? Run the highlights.
That sounds like a super fight to me. That's the rubber match.
Right, exactly. So I just
it is the rubber match.
Nah, that's Warren Gotti 4 right there, baby. You gotta go. You gotta go.
I love Justin Herbert. He is so good. He doesn't have as many weapons as Joe Burrow, but yeah, man, I think Herbert is the best thing to compete against Mahomes if like the Chargers keep building their team in the right way. But yeah, it's like a cool thing, I think, for fans, right? Like, it's cool because like Patrick Mahomes is the face of the league, not named Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. Like, those guys are in the NFC. I mean, I don't know. I just get the sense that like the NFL is getting younger at the quarterback position. And so it's a cool thing for Kansas City to be like, we have the most exciting, perhaps best, quarterback in the league, depending upon your opinion, but that they always want to put you in a primetime game. I mean, one of the things I made fun of, guys, was that, what was it? Was it December or November? I can't remember, but when they flexed Chiefs Broncos the first game, I was like, what are we doing? Like everybody already knows the outcome. This game is going to be kind of I mean, unless the Chiefs score 40, which I don't think Andy had intentions of doing that anyway. But yeah, why did they put Teddy Bridgewater and Vic Fangio versus Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid on Sunday Night Football when you had better games available? No, let's get Patrick Mahomes on TV. He'll do
because they weren't gonna let him get that Cincinnati game. No, you can't have that one.
Yep, that was clear, right? I mean, Jim Nance and CBS wanted it really bad, and I don't know how this playoffs is gonna go, man, but it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, so, it definitely is.
Have you seen that graphic of what Super Bowl matchup you want? And it's like, it's actually disrespectful though, because first of all, Tom Brady's not in it. Then it's like Burrow, Dak, Pat.
It's all the young guys. Yeah,
it's all the young guys. Yeah. And then Tennessee has Derrick Henry, who we don't even know if he's playing or not. It's like totally disrespectful graphic though. But how would you rank the matchups? I think the obvious matchup is Mahomes Rodgers. I would say 1A, 1B, Mahomes Brady. I think Mahomes Dak might be like 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, who else would you want to see?
Yeah, because I mean, if Cincinnati somehow got to the Super Bowl, it would feel like, wow, this is like 2 years, like super early compared to like, you know, them just drafting Burrow in the first round 2 years ago. I would love to see one of my biggest things, and we won't get it this year, right? Because Antonio Brown went Antonio Brown. Chris Godwin is out with the knee. I believe with the ACL tear. So like what I would have envisioned for just like theater storylines, like, okay, let's really see is like a healthy Chiefs team versus a healthy Bucs team in a rematch. And you know, the Chiefs trying to win 2 out of 3 in terms of the Super Bowl. Because you know, it's as more years go further, right? As we're into like 2035, like, will people remember that like that game was basically compromised because they didn't have an offensive line, like they just didn't. So you know, I don't think a quarterback has ever had to play under that circumstance in NFL history where it's like, here was our opening day offensive line and like one guy is left at the Super Bowl. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I just saw it. You know, I think State Farm would make a ton of money getting the Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes game. I think everybody knows it already. Like, Mahomes got hurt in 19. Aaron Rodgers immunized.
He lied.
Got that COVID. Caught that COVID earlier this year. So it's like maybe you know, you save the best for last, and like, you know, this is the 3rd time where they could meet. Let's actually get both of these dudes on the field together. And Matt LaFleur is like a really good coach. So like he's paid. You know, the Packers have been in the championship game the last 2 years, so it'll be interesting for the Packers to sort of get over the hump in that way. And can you imagine if the Cowboys got to the Super Bowl, like how people would react?
I think that's the Cowboys, because it sounds like they're gonna move the Super Bowl to Dallas. I think that's probably the biggest one. Mahomes playing the Super Bowl at home against the Cowboys, or if they move it to Texas and Mahomes plays against Kyler Murray, that's crazy too.
Yeah. By the way, it's funny that like I don't know if it's funny, but it is interesting that the league built like an $8 billion stadium, and a pandemic might change. I mean, they'll eventually, if they don't get it this year, they'll eventually host it.
Oh yeah.
But it is kind of weird to be like, man, this variant, how are we gonna handle that, y'all? How we gonna get through this? Like, you know, And last year was wild too. Last year being in Tampa Bay, I was like, this is crazy. Like, people in Florida are very Mac Jones versus Tom Brady.
Kevin, don't get blocked, man. Come on, man. Don't do that, man. Hold on, man.
Look, I just want to see Mac Jones in a playoff game. All right, like I just like.
We ain't checking for that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, if potentially Mahomes has to go through Herbert, Burrow, and who would be the? I want to add Lamar, but they're not going to make it to the playoff.
Look, Josh Allen,
bruh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had a mind. If he had to go through that gauntlet and then come up and face Rodgers, that's worth 2 rings to me.
Well, it'd be what people were saying last year about Brady, right? I mean, Brady ended Drew Brees' career, got through Aaron Rodgers and Lambeau, and then obviously beat Mahomes. I think now it's funny that like
it was funny though.
The Heineke is like, hey, I only lost by 1 score, y'all. Like, give me some credit. But no, again, like the NFL's in a really cool place because there's so much young, upcoming talent. Like Mahomes is kind of in that middle spot because he's already like established, like he's won, he's done everything you could ask him to do basically. And then you got, Brady and Rodgers still kind of just playing unbelievable, honestly, at their ages. So yeah, if he, if it were me, and I think Chiefs fans would be mostly okay with this, what you would want is the Chiefs to win on Sunday. We'll assume Tennessee takes care of their business. So then you get Herbert on Monday night. The Chiefs win that game. Obviously, it's entertaining. Then you got to go Monday to Sunday. I know, Boogie. I know. Then you go Monday.
Boogie do not want that 3rd game.
Then you go,
what if it's the Raiders, though?
Right. And then or it could be the Raiders, right? So then you go Monday to Sunday, and you get Cincinnati. Because based on the way these 2 things even out, I don't know if I assume, but like it could be Patriots, Bills. And then you want the Bills to beat Tennessee, and then you want a rematch of the Bills coming back to Arrowhead for the AFC Championship.
Hold on, Nate. We can't play the Raiders though, right? Even if the Raiders win?
If the Raiders win, they would be the 7th seed. So again, it's like if the Chiefs win tomorrow, they're the 2 seed. Tennessee would have to win, of course. And then I think to win and get in, it depends. It's a good point. It depends on Indy too, because Indy, they should be Jacksonville. But if Indy beats Jacksonville, then I think if the Raiders win against the Chargers at home, they'll be the 7th seed and they'll play the Chiefs.
But Raiders beat the
Monday night
Colts, right?
football. Huh?
Raiders beat the Colts.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if the records are the same.
Yeah, because I thought it was impossible for us to play the Raiders regardless, even if they win. If the Raiders, it's so many scenarios. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because I thought if the Raiders win, then the Raiders play, and we play the Colts first round.
That's right. I just looked this up. Yes, you were right. I believe. Yeah, because since Las Vegas beat Indianapolis last week, then you would get the Colts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm here to tell y'all right now that I might as well get this out of the way. I'm here to tell y'all right now that the Chargers, they're gonna choke again on Sunday Night Football, and it will be the Raiders in the playoffs. I'm here to tell y'all that right now.
My love for Justin Herbert would take a massive hit if they somehow lost.
Woo! I can't wait.
In a game where
I can't wait.
All you gotta do, boys. All you gotta do is win. Like, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook. I can't think of my guy's name. Austin Eckler. They are so talented.
Mm-hmm.
Just win the playoffs.
But they missing a few things too. Like as talented as they are, they show a lack of discipline. they get penalties at the wrong time of the game. And I seen Herbert majority of the time when it's time to get it done, when it's time to close a deal, he can't close a deal as great as he's been individually, stat wise. And we look at this,
he's great. I guess he's amazing. but you're right. I mean, it comes down to like that game's gonna probably gonna be in the fourth quarter, and someone's gonna have to like perform really well, right?
And it's the last game too. It's the very last game.
All kinds of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
And the Raiders are at home as an underdog.
Chuck, but
I think the Raiders are better.
Devil's advocate though, the Raiders are the Raiders though, right? So it's like I could see either one of them.
The Chargers are the Chargers too.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
The Chargers are the Chargers too.
I could see Carr having a horrible game and them losing. I could see the Chargers doing Charger things. It's like
so now. See, now I'm ready to just fast forward to Sunday night because no one's wrong. Like, everybody's right. Like, I think Justin Herbert is great, but they can also go Chargers. The Raiders have had a hell of a season, boys. I mean, just an ungodly season. And if they win, Rich Bisaccia needs to have, like, some coach award. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say he the coach of the year, but, like, how they get that team to the playoffs. Well, I mean, we'll see, Chris. I don't know, but no one is wrong, and that's like the best. That's like the best games is when both teams need it. Both teams got their pluses and their minuses. It's just,
and
they know each other.
Right.
Each other, so it's like
it's literally a coin toss. Who knows? It can go either way.
We winners regardless, because one of them go lose and we go troll their fan base.
So. I'll say that, like, for all the success and all the like aggressiveness, and I think like good coaching from Brendan Staley. Come on, man, you gotta get in the playoffs with this team. It's your first year. It's your first year as the coach. The quarterback is doing well. Their defense is kind of like up and down. But like when they played the Chiefs, I've always, the two times they played the Chiefs, I was like, man, that's a coach understanding that, like, we need touchdowns. None of this field goal stuff is not going to work when you're trying to be, the team that's the team to, go after in the division. Their schedule has not been like a murderer's row by any means, which is why losing to the Texans is so disappointing for them. They played the NFC East just like Kansas City. It would not be great on Brendan Staley if they lost.
I could also see Staley being over aggressive and that coming back to bite him too. That could be something that bite him. Because I mean, he aggressive.
I love it. I'm all for it. I'm like, hey, if you know touchdowns is the way to go get touchdowns. But it's that game was great. I think, and I don't think Caleb is wrong necessarily. What I said after the game with like Carrington and a few others is they should have taken the field goal right before halftime. Like, you can't get a turnover and then get nothing out of it, because that actually helped the Chiefs, I think, from a mental momentum stake. So they should have taken the field goal. You could argue they should have taken the field goal to open the game because, like, hey, at least we have a lead, and they should have taken the field goal right before halftime instead of getting no points. Everything, the other two times where they went on fourth down, I was like, that's fine. Like, you're just trying to get 30 points, which is required to beat the Chiefs, honestly. Tennessee beat the Chiefs with 27 points, but that was when Patrick was in like the biggest funk of his career. Patrick is right. When that offense is, pretty healthy, you're going to need 30 points, which I think is why it's so fun that Cincinnati was like, quietly, Cincinnati almost galaxy brained that thing to where if they don't get the holding penalty, I think on Ward, and then the hands to the face with L'Jarius Sneed, like, they could have kicked the field goal on 4th and goal from the 1. Instead, they went for it and they got away with it. So
Speaking of Tennessee, though, Nate, with Derrick Henry, he's fresh, but is he in football shape? It's been 8, 9,
weeks.
10 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Look,
it's kind of hard to tell him to go beat Derrick Henry after 10 weeks of not being on the couch or in the training room. But he's still going to be tough, but he's not going to be Derrick Henry.
I agree. No, I actually agree. I actually agree with Country. He'll be good, but I don't know if he'll be like prime. Like remember how Derrick Henry just destroyed the Ravens like 2 playoff seasons ago? I mean, just ended them.
I'm saying though, Paul. I'm saying he's built different. He's built different.
I mean, I'm conceding that. But 10 weeks.
Hard,
10 weeks.
And it's hard. Like
that dude, if anybody can do it, he can do it.
That's fair.
There's only one guy that I would put in the same category that has actually done it. And that person was Adrian Peterson. Yeah. Like Adrian Peterson came back early and was like MVP of the league. So I want to, obviously I love watching Derrick Henry play. I think he's he is a human specimen, but
generational.
Yes. I mean, put him in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, we know how great he is. Playoff football is so different, y'all. Like the intensity, he ain't been hit. You trying to cut back on a dime? I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. And it's really honorable and commendable that he's like trying to come back, trying to help his teammates. Obviously, everybody knows how valuable he is. But they're going to have to be careful with him. And it is true. I mean, Foreman's playing really well right now. How do they use
Foreman going to the bench?
I mean,
well, he's still gonna get some touches though.
Yeah, you can use a 1-2 combo, but like I think for Tennessee, a lot of it comes down to is AJ Brown just amazing? Because that dude, when he's right, is pretty good. I don't know, guys. It's hard.
But that's why that bye week is so important too for the Titans. Because he's already practicing this week.
Exactly.
Get him practicing one more week before. It's not like he just go practice 1 week and go play.
Yes. Yeah. And again, that's the pressure that'll be on Tennessee if the Chiefs win tomorrow. They're like, everybody's gonna be looking at him and being like, man, if we just get this third down, that guy will be more right. If we can just get a turnover here, like it'll all be psychological, because you know how good he is, and then, like you said, Boogie, another extra week, it gives him a better chance of being more prepared. But he hasn't been tackled. Like you just don't. Like you can feel a certain way, you can get treatment, you can do all the necessary things, but like anybody will tell you, like coming back in the middle of a season is really hard because everybody's going at 100 miles an hour and you're trying to get back on that train and you ain't getting hit. And as a running back, all they want to do is go low on you. And what injury does he have?
Foot injury.
I mean, this is the struggle he'll deal with. And so if he comes back and he plays great, then yeah, it's just another reason to say that Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. If he comes back and he struggles, it to me it would be reasonable. It would be like, man, you tried it, you gave it your all, but at the same time, like it's not the same as being in rhythm every week, playing the sport.
And Kansas City did do a decent to good job. I'm not gonna say they did great, but they did kind of good against Derrick Henry when we faced him earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just something. It's just something that I would watch out. Like I wouldn't expect them to look like Derrick Henry off 10 weeks. Now, if they get the bye week, but he still hasn't been hit in 10 weeks, bro. Like, and it's cold. It's playoff football. Everything is ratcheted up another level. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
this is something that I would watch out for.
Yeah. I know some people remember this from 2019, but like, remember when like Mike Florio, who say what you will about your opinions, but like that what he told everybody was true. Like Mike Florio was like, "Hey, 49ers are looking at this tape and they're just like, maybe we just got to hit this dude like really, really hard.
Oh yeah, when he said, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like the 49er coaches aren't dumb. They're just like, did you see what this dude just did to Tennessee? Like, how are we gonna beat him? Like, I know we got a great defense, but like we have to hit this man. And like that same thing will be about Derrick Henry. Like all 11 eyes will be looking at you. And if you tackle him, like, you know, lean on that foot, see if it, see how strong it is. You know, it's when you get to playoffs, I think it's a little different than the regular season because everybody understands like it's such a long season, it's so grueling. But when it's win or go home, man, you got to do whatever is necessary to get the win within the rules. Now, obviously, you can have an argument as to like, you know, hey, if Patrick scrambles and they hit him hard, Patrick gets up and says, "Nice hit." And it's like, yeah, that's the entire like that's a tactic they have. Like if he scrambles, we need to make him pay, and the quarterback knows that, so it's totally even. Like everybody understands the situation. Derrick Henry would know that. But man, it makes the playoffs exciting because if Buffalo beats New England and they go to Tennessee, like I don't know who I'm picking in that game. If Tennessee's the 1 seed, I don't know. You know,
Ooh.
Exactly. And you speak about that pressure, like if everything's going perfectly, and then all the pressure's on Sandy or the Chargers and Raiders game. What quarterback do you trust with that pressure? It's like we've seen Herbert kind of fold under some pressure. We've seen Carr fold under cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like he folds under pressure too. He's still I don't know who's gonna win that game.
Yeah.
With Buffalo though, can they get up for 2 Super Bowls in the same season? Because we all agree Week 5 was their
Super Bowl. Yes, was their Super Bowl by far. And they had a dip right after that. They kind of went through a midseason swoon. They got it together now. I think the Patriots loss actually reignited them. You know, when they lost on that Monday night game and it was really close. Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times. I think that actually re-inspired the Bills, and it's been fun to see them sort of get back on track since.
Hey man, if somebody throw 3 times and you lose, if that don't inspire you, He what? He threw 3 back. Oh man, come on.
Look,
if that don't inspire you, that don't inspire.
Right. As a reporter that used to be in the locker room and is not in the locker room, ooh, I would love that locker room because you just know dudes would be heated, just waiting to tell somebody how mad they are about how the way they lost. I think I mean, look, it'd be fun. I thought this season, and I think I wrote this in The Athletic, but I thought this season the Chiefs were going to have to go to Buffalo because I thought Buffalo was going to get the 1 seed and make that sort of an interesting sort of part to their little rivalry right now. I don't know. I want to see it, though. I mean, Mahomes is a lot better against the defense that Buffalo presented in Week 5. Like, that's just a fact. So Josh Allen would have to be, you know, really, really good, which he wasn't in the AFC Championship game last year because to his credit in that game, Steve Spagnuolo was like, why would we wait when we could just blitz you all the time and rush you and speed you up mentally and like let you get frazzled? And that game plan worked. I don't know if he would change or do something differently this time, but
no, he won't change.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this right now, man. Boogie not gonna like it. He not gonna want to
go
hear
ahead
it.
and discuss it.
But Buffalo is a one and done team. I'm sorry. When you lose to a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's not moving me. I'm sorry. You can't get a touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't care what Josh Allen's stats look like this year. I've seen enough Buffalo Bills games. They underwhelmed against some teams under 500. So if we play them again in the playoffs, we should be able to handle them. But I don't think we're going to be able to see them, man. I'm sorry. I'm not moved.
You know, Josh Allen got
the loss
40
of Trey White's going to
touchdowns
affect
this
them
year.
too.
He got 40 touchdowns.
I get that, Boogie.
40.
I get that, Boogie. What did he do against Atlanta last week? Who does Atlanta have on their defense besides A.J. Terrell, Deion Jones?
40
I'm
touchdowns,
just saying.
dude. Do you know how many touchdowns that is?
And they got 6 losses. They got 6 losses, brother. They got 6 losses. They hanging on by a thread in the AFC East. They hanging on by a thread. They had a big lead to start off the season, and they let New England get back in it, my brother.
But New England was arguably one of the best teams.
Hey, Nate, we just fade out, bro. We just let them go at it for a minute. We just gonna fade out,
New
bro.
England was one of the best teams.
This is great.
You act like New England was just some bum team. They won like 8 straight.
Look,
No, I'm not saying they was bummed. They started out terrible, though. I'm saying Buffalo had a head start, and they couldn't hold it together.
The Chiefs started off terrible, Chuck.
Not like New England, though.
I'm just saying.
Man, anyway.
look.
Anyway, hold on.
If I was Buffalo, I don't want to see Bill Belichick. Hell no. I don't want to see it. I don't care who
Right.
that quarterback is. Hell no. Like,
Exactly.
Based on the way it all goes out, like whoever gets the Patriots is a really fun game in the first round because it's like, yeah, they got a rookie quarterback. Yeah, he might not be ready. You know, but I mean, you know, he played in the national championship at Alabama, but when he had freaks around him. So I mean, he's played in big games. It's not that. It's just like, hey, do they have enough skill position pieces around him? You know, obviously, they're still counting on people like N'Keal Harry, who's been, an underwhelming player since he into the league. You know, they got the 2 tight ends.
Scratch.
So,
Yeah.
But look, they can run the ball well. They got those tight ends. I just don't think you want to see Bill Belichick, man.
You sure don't. You sure don't. Third time.
How do we get to Cincinnati again? I want Cincinnati again. I want Cincinnati more than I wanted Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. I spent all year wanting Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Now I'm like, I want to do Cincinnati again. Pause.
And get Ron Torber away from the game this time.
Now,
have we had an explanation on the referee change yet?
No. Yeah, let me do a little bit of, I guess, reporting here. So there was obviously, we don't know if it was a COVID situation. We don't know if it was a flight situation because a bunch of flights were getting canceled all over the place in the Midwest last weekend. I think I even heard fans say that their flight got canceled to go to Denver, or they had to reschedule them because, COVID is out here. So
and Amarion.
So the league, for whatever reason, the problem I have is like the league will tell you, or somebody within the league will tell you, hey, this person is on the COVID list. But they won't do that for the officiating crew. And so we don't know, but you ask the questions and you just say, hey, this is the first time y'all done it this year where you had to mix crews together. And it didn't look good, You want me to state the facts real quick? I mean, when Jamar Chase was tackled by L'Jarius Sneed, that penalty was on the Bengals sideline. When L'Jarius Sneed got called for pass interference, that play was near the Bengals sideline. There's a human element to it. And there was a lot of inconsistencies in terms of the calls. So the league hasn't given an explanation for it, but what you will see after, Mike Pereira is right. By the way, it's 3rd and goal, or maybe it's 4th. I can't remember if it's 3rd and goal from the 1 or 3rd and 1.
Oh, you talking about the false start?
And the left
3rd and inches.
Yeah, 3rd and inches. It was 3rd and inches. It was like 2 minutes of change left.
Yes, yeah, and that changes everything. Like if that penalty is called, then Cincinnati will have to pass the ball. So if it's an incompletion, that stops the clock. And then if they don't get the first down, then obviously they'll more than likely have to kick the field goal, which gives Patrick Mahomes and the offense about a minute and a half to work with. 6 feet goal. What
a goal, bro.
Yeah, even Eric Bieniemy's like, what's that like? I don't even know what that life is like. The guy who was on the team for 5th and goal against Missouri with Colorado. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, what you'll see now is that the league understands that they'll have to have more refs ready. And what I mean by that is during the playoffs, they cut, however many refs because based on their grading system, hey, you were the best ref. So you get to go work with this crew put together to ref the game so that we have the best referees on the field, just like we have the best teams on the field for the playoffs. Because of COVID, because of scheduling situations, flights, who can get to the game, I made the joke to somebody in the league. I was like, did somebody pick up a phone and was like, how close are you to Cincinnati? Can you drive there in 6 hours? Because we need you by Sunday morning. That could have been a possibility. Like, hey, you live in Ohio. Can you get in the car and drive? I don't know what the situation was, but
I'll tell you what happened. That man had something planned with his wife. And he was like, babe, sorry, babe, I got to go to Cincinnati. And he was like, what? And she started going crazy. He slept on the couch. And he was like totally upset. He was so upset. He took it out on us and cut everything against
the human element, man. It's tricky. I think, but what I mean by that is there could be more refs who would not ref a playoff game who will be asked to ref that game as an alternate because of the world that we are living in. So maybe the officiating isn't as up to standard as it would be in postseasons in the past, just because you need a wider pool, which means you may be getting the C graded refs instead of the A and B graded refs, depending on if they get COVID or if they have some travel arrangement issues. So that will be something to keep mindful of, because if the league puts out, hey, we have to change this line judge for that line judge, or this back judge for this back judge, Chiefs fans will be like, why are you doing that? Why would you do that to us? I'm sure they'll be on edge about it.
Okay, yeah, so we gotta address the elephant in the room. 3rd and 27. Did you ask the question? Was it? Hey, bro, chill out. It was your question, right? About you asked Spags the question.
Yeah,
great question. First of all,
so I remember asking Andy on the after the game. I said, Andy, was there any discussion about double teaming Chase? And Andy said, we made our decision, which is fine. You made your decision. But hey, Spags, what was the thought process? And my question was, what do you say to your secondary when it's 3rd and 27 and they're asked to do something that, most people would not tell the defense to do? Spags said he treated the play as if it was 3rd and 6 because they wanted another sack or another incompletion to force the Bengals to either punt or kick a long field goal. By my estimations, it would have been like a 49, 50-yard field goal had they not gotten any yards on that play. He shouldn't do it again if the opportunity presents itself.
Good Lord, he so should, man. Because, dude, I was so hot after those comments. I'm like, dude, even if they do get a field goal, you got Patrick Mahomes on your sideline with 3 minutes until change left, all 3 of your timeouts. We've seen him come through in the clutch many times since he's been the quarterback of the
with
Chiefs.
less.
He's going to win you the ball game.
We didn't see him do that with less. Come on, that's not an excuse, man. Come on, what is it?
That's incompetent coaching.
The Spags have it seemed like sometimes his comments in the media is just
it's a little bit of, hey, we're one of the teams that blitz the most in the league. I've written about that and sort of explained the philosophy. The reason he does blitz more is because he does actually trust the secondary to do a pretty good job. Problem is, Jamar Chase was a mix of Jerry Rice and Randy Moss in that game, and so they didn't adjust. And that's something that they're going to have to get better at in a game that is even more important in the postseason, right? The problem was Cincinnati has T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. They got plenty of dudes. My thought was, and I said this to Carrington earlier today on 610, I was cool. I was actually excited with them lining up and being like, hey, we're going to blitz, because I thought it was supposed to speed up Joe Burrow's time. When you're a quarterback and you're like, okay, here's the potential of 6 guys rushing me immediately, I got to get the ball out quick. And so I thought they were going to give that sort of disguise of hey, we're going to blitz 7, and then 3 guys are going to drop back, and now we're going to have 7 guys in coverage, and we're making you throw the ball sooner than you anticipate. because we made it look like we was gonna blitz you. And look,
showing blitz.
we was gonna blitz you, but like, so that's what I would have done. I also wouldn't have had my corners necessarily in bump and run situation where it's like press man, hey, I got a bump Jamar Chase and it's sprint 30 yards this way. That's really hard. It's something that you better change that tendency if the quarterback and the receiver have had such a day like they were having before that decision was made. But
that's the big problem, Nate. I mean, I don't think any of us would have complained if he had 100 yards, 80 yards. He had 200 yards at that
by
point.
then, yes. By then he had 200 yards. Yes. He was Randy Moss. And then he Jerry Riced everybody on a simple out route, which is just wild.
It's like, I'm sorry. I'm not letting one guy beat me, dog. I'm sorry. Like,
exactly, Chuck.
I don't care. If I can understand losing if T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd went off in the second half. Okay, I can live with that. But you letting this guy get one-on-one coverage still, and y'all at halftime to correct all this?
None of us would have complained if Higgins got that touchdown or that deep catch.
Mm-hmm.
None of them.
Yeah, right. But
it was him doing that, man.
Yeah. And the thing, too, is like Spagnuolo has a really good, like, I want to tell people, like, Spagnuolo is a very good coach. And sometimes you are stubborn. Sometimes you gamble. Sometimes you just get beat. Like, that just happens. But, one thing I thought Spag did a really good job against Dak Prescott was we're going to blitz you, but we're going to tell you where the ball's going to go. So we're blitzing from the left side. We know the ball should go over here. Well, guess who's over here? L'Jarius Sneed is just waiting on you to throw that short route. Or if we're going to blitz you up the middle, that's going to force you to throw it to the outside on the sideline. Now every corner understands that, and now we can play inside out basically. In terms of like where they want to sort of be with the receiver in terms of their hips or understanding the technique of the route. It's fascinating to me that they blitzed Jordan Love on like half his snaps because he was a quarterback making his first time start. And like he just blitzed abandonedly. And he was just like, we telling you it's blitz, it's gonna be a blitz. Like, hike the ball. I dare you. Hike it. So if you find, as country sort of wants, if you get Joe Burrow in round 2 in the playoffs or the divisional round or whatever, maybe that's when you actually do show blitz and you drop out more people, or you say we're going to blitz you, but everybody's coming from this side. And so if you throw the ball at Jamar Chase, we got 2 guys waiting on you. You sort of overload. Is sort of one of the calls that they say in the NFL, like, let's overload the left side and hope we have enough speed to cover the right side. I mean, there's a number of things you can do. You can obviously bracket them. But, yeah, man.
Nate, one more thing. This is my last thing said about 3rd and 27, but this is the other thing that just really killed me. Why was Chris Jones back at the end on that play?
It's another thing.
I don't know. Sometimes, now I will say, sometimes he lets Chris freelance. Sometimes he lets Chris decide, I want to line up on this guy because I like my matchup here. Or, I think I'm doing well against him. Like, one question I asked Spaz earlier this year is like, who do you call stunts or do you let guys stunt on their own? And sometimes Chris and Melvin Ingram have looked at one another and say, okay, you go inside, I'm actually going to go outside. And so that game corner, sort of works on the offensive lineman because they can't kind of tell. But I don't know the answer to that. Sometimes it might be Chris. Sometimes it might be, hey, let's line him up at defensive end. And maybe that'll give the appearance that based on that personnel, we haven't blitzed all year on that, or we haven't blitzed a ton. But yeah,
I thought that was his only play at the end that game. I'm not.
If that's the case, I'd have to look back at it. But the answer I got early in the year is that sometimes it's situational, and sometimes it's giving Chris the ability to be like, who do you want to match up against on this snap? And so if he makes that choice, he makes that choice. And Chris was dominating anybody on the Bengals offensive line, honestly.
On the inside.
Yes, on the inside. But here's my thing. Everybody. You know it. I know it. Spags know it. Tyrann Mathieu know it. Everybody know it. Okay, every quarterback knows it. It's 3rd and 8. Your season's on the line. Everybody knows what Spags is going to do. Everybody does. So unless he changes at the right moment, everybody knows either we getting home on this blitz or we're going to get like a quarterback who's going to rush the pass, and maybe it's a pass that we can intercept. But if the quarterback knows it's a blitz and it's 3rd and 8 and he delivers it on time and on money, that might be the end of your season. And like that's just who you are. Like that's the Chiefs. That's the 2021 Chiefs. 3rd and 8, what defense you running? Everybody know the answer. Everybody has a pretty good idea that somebody's coming. Maybe it's a 5-man blitz. Maybe it's a cover 0, send 8, engage all of them. Like everybody knows that, man, when this, if Carson Wentz is in a game in the 4th quarter, they're going to blitz Carson Wentz. Like they're just going to do it. Like it'll be fascinating just because he has a reputation. And the way I'll bring this full circle that Chiefs fans won't love is when it was 3rd and 10 in the 2018 AFC Championship game. Tom Brady knew it was cover 2 man. 3rd and 10. Here we are again, midfield. Everybody knows cover 2 man. And I mean deep cover 2. I mean like we're playing cover 2 as if we're playing Patrick Mahomes in his prime. Like get 15, 20 yards back. So let Julian Edelman get all them little routes, get all them little wiggle routes in the middle of the field. Guess what, boys? It's 3rd and 10 in the red zone. It's cover 2 man. And God bless Eric Berry. He can't cover Rob Gronkowski on this slant. So it might come full circle where, look, Spagnuolo top down is probably is a better defensive coordinator than Bob Sutton. But if you lose, you know why you lost, because the coach, just like any human being, the coach has habits, and then you can use those habits against that person.
The blessing in disguise is they lost that game. The hurt. I think it would hurt more if it was the playoffs and that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's a lesson learned. That's a growing pain. That's something. That's a chip on the shoulder.
Yep.
I'm just glad they lost last week instead of 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So the other part is he ran the cover 2 to play before and it worked.
But the funny thing too is like as much as we want to criticize the coach, like there are players on the field. So if the coach asks you to blitz on 3rd and 8, you better blitz you know what off. Like there better be no hesitation. Like if our season's on the line, like and the coach makes a call that's like you just gotta play. You gotta play to the best of your abilities, really hard, even if the scheme works or if it doesn't. That's one of the reasons why I think people love Wasp, is because Patrick literally tells everybody, "Do we have time to run this play?" And I'm a backpedal, even though you would not tell anybody to do that on a white. Like hell no, you backpedaling from the shotgun? No, but he does that because I'm trying to give my offensive lineman a chance. I'm trying to give Tyreek a chance. Tyreek is running Tyreek is running as hard as he can on that route, and so it's a play that's designed to beat cover 3. But the 49ers played cover 3 pretty well on that play. But hey, your dudes just were better than their dudes, and that is going to be like
the funniest part about Wasp is they sent him deep right after that play. Like, well, he's not going to make it.
He's gassed. He's literally gassed. Yes, and you can see him. He was like please. But as a coach, you get intoxicated, right? As a coach, you're like, well, that one worked. Run up another one, line it up, let's do another one. It's like, no, he's a human being. Like he's winded, coach. Give him
but do you see Cincinnati? Do you see Jamar Chase having another historic day if we play them again? It couldn't possibly go like that again.
I mean, you shouldn't.
It better not go that way again.
It should.
The hell?
But here's the thing: it better not go that way, because if you win on Saturday, if you win on Saturday, that game has to be played in Arrowhead, and so that's one variable that's already changed. You can change your coaching strategy. That's a second variable. The quarterback may not have enough time, or it may not be as accurate. I mean, Joe Burrow was pretty accurate on those passes. So, like, there's a number of factors that aren't even Jamar Chase that would lead you to believe that, man, that'd be really, really hard to do again. If he was given the same amount of targets, right? Like, he may get the same amount of targets and have 150, and that's a really good day in the playoffs. But it's not 266 and 3 touchdowns. So there would be, I think there would be enough variables, country, where I would say, like, man, that would, like, if you get beat like that again, then I don't know what people would do in this town.
Right.
But let's be honest, the Bengals could beat us without Chase having that type of game too.
Yes.
They still got other weapons. So
yes.
I mean, he doesn't have to get 200 for them to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, maybe now you're throwing 50-50 balls to T. Higgins. And let me tell you, kids, he's pretty tall. Like,
exactly.
he pretty good. He pretty good.
I was surprised they didn't do that more, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, there's a number of factors. I think Chiefs fans should want as many rematches as possible, right? Whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Bengals, the Bills, Titans, like, you should kind of want all those rematches, because much to what you guys have said, like, there's a hunger, there's a vengeance, there's a revenge factor that could be involved. And if the Chiefs win on Saturday, if the Chiefs win tomorrow, every game outside of Tennessee will be played in your ballpark. So that's with the crowd behind you. Maybe some calls go your way from the officials. So, yeah, I mean, if it works out a certain way, like, to Paul's point, like, if the bracket comes out a certain way, best believe that's what everybody else said in that locker room. Like, okay, this is part one of our revenge tour. Who we got next? Okay, the Chargers came into our building and won. It's the playoffs. Shouldn't need anything else to get motivated. I mean, that's some of the talk that they'll have with amongst themselves. But the Chiefs should want to have, like, sort of this extra element to their postseason.
Hey, Nate, I think that in judging off the Last Dance in Jordan's, I took that personally. I think Pat has that in him. Have you ever seen that, though? Because you're around them way more than we are. Have you seen that?
Can I tell one of my favorite stories of the 2019 season?
Let's go.
Go right ahead.
I think I may have told this story a couple times, but, like, it's been a while. Let's revisit it. So
everybody sat back in their chair. That was classic.
So everybody knows that he had the dislocated kneecap, and I thought, season over. Like, don't put it, like. So he comes back at what, 3 weeks later, because I think they had the bye week too involved, and they played Tennessee in Nashville, and he played like a man who had come back from an injury and was like, I'm going to, like, Matt Moore did us a favor helping us beat Kirk Cousins at home. I'm going to do my part and make sure we get this offense back in high gear. He does the jump pass to McCole Hardman for the touchdown. I mean, I'm just sitting in the press box like, this dude's incredible. Like, this is just, his kneecap was going this way, not forward, this way. So what ends up happening is Tennessee makes a valiant comeback. They have the botched field goal attempt to ice the game.
I was there.
Tannehill goes right down the field, scores a touchdown. Pat amazingly brings him right back down the field. And it's not Bucker's fault. It's actually Blake Bell's fault. Blake Bell does not block the guy coming off the edge of the field goal, and he blocks the field goal that would have tied the game to send it into overtime, and they lose. This was before COVID. We were still in the locker room. They opened it up the locker room. I'm trying to get a sense of what's going on. I remember having a really interesting discussion with Frank Clark that day. I remember McCole sort of was like just amazed that, like, Patrick looked normal. He was just like, didn't he, like, what, this knee just messed up? Just like, it's just amazing to him. And Patrick entered and walked the entire locker room towards the showers, like from one corner of the locker room to another. And I don't think I've ever seen a man drink a bottle of water as furious as this man did, because he like the bottle, like he was just destroying this thing as he was drinking it. Yes, I mean, just like, I mean, wasn't looking at anybody, didn't say anything, but was just getting hydrated, as angry as I've ever seen somebody drink a bottle of water. And then you just crunch that thing and you just toss it. And then he went and got in the showers, and I was just thinking, like, wow, like no one said anything to him. And I was like, that's really interesting. So we do the whole post-game presser afterward. You know, I asked Patrick, how did it feel to be back? You do all the normal things. And it was told to me by somebody that Tennessee was on the list. And so for the AFC Championship game that year, Tennessee wins. Everybody in Kansas City is terrified of Derrick Henry. And in the back of my mind, I just remember the idea of, like, Patrick kind of probably wants this. Like, the chance to get back at Tennessee. He won't say it publicly. He'll do everything the right way. But, like, the chance, like, because they had already beat New England. They had already went up to New England and beat Brady. And I remember how significant that was for the whole team at that time. But, okay, they just came back from 24-0 to Houston, and now they get Tennessee. And look, guys, he didn't miss the entire game. I mean, the entire game. That man was precise. He was excellent. And then, of course, the play that I still think is his best individual play of his entire career is that run. That run, that tells you all you need to know, okay? Like, Tennessee had a perfect defensive play call. It didn't matter. Like, he flexed on him, and I just remember Demarcus Robinson hitting him in the chest. And, like, just look at his eyes. Like, I just want people to, like, YouTube it, right? You know, whenever you got time. But look at him when he scores that touchdown. Like, he is so focused and motivated. And, again, he was doing that on a knee that was dislocated a few months earlier. So, it was at that point. And you never truly know, because you know that there was a whole nother half that game. But at that point, I was like, they're probably winning this game, and they're probably winning the Super Bowl. Because when your quarterback does that, and he's got, you know, the whole hit me thing, like, Eric Bieniemy's right. I know somebody put it on here earlier. He is a competitive freak. Like, he's just, I mean, it's something that only a few of us can see. But to see how angry he was after they lost to Tennessee, and did they lose another game that whole season? The answer is no, kids.
Hey, speaking of the list, I heard in 19 that Lamar Jackson was on the list.
It would have been fun to see. It would have been fun to see. It would have been really
what happened? What was that? Monday Night Football, Baltimore?
Oh, yeah.
We counted the 4, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, look, he's let's stand on Eric Bieniemy's words. He is a competitive prick. But I just remember him being, that was the angriest I had ever seen Patrick up close. And obviously that's what you, I think, as, you know, as fans, as reporters, as whatever, like, you want to see these guys be human. You want to see the emotion of the sport, because the game is played on such emotion. And so to see him in that locker room in Nashville, and to know that they were, like, I believe 6-4 at the time, so you weren't sure, like, where they were going to be in terms of playoffs, what they were in the division. They never lost a game after that. Like, that was it. And I just remember him destroying a bottle of water in a way that I felt really bad about Aquafina or Dasani or whichever one it was. To where it's just like, wow, like, you know, and then, like, internal fury, like that kind of thing, like, he has it. And he's he's an excellent quarterback. And that's one of my favorite stories of 2019 was after their last loss and knowing that, like, he had the run, knowing that is all in the back of his mind as to what happened in Nashville, and to know that he was, some people will say he was possessed. Some people will say that he was, I took that personally. But yeah, it was a remarkable season.
Man, Kevin, you about to get blocked. Anyway, anyway, hey, nothing like LeBron. He's got that. He got that Kobe. He got that Kobe fire. But anyway, I seen that kind of that same fury with Mahomes in that Chargers game. Like just in that fourth quarter, like after he made the little blunder on fourth down, near the goal line or whatever,
Yeah.
he redeemed himself. He locked in, and like after Kelsey scored the game-winning touchdown, Mahomes was like, "I do this."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just talking to the Chargers sideline, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati game, he had a lot of extra stuff after the plays.
Mm-hmm.
After that sidearm to Blake Bell, it was like,
Yeah.
y'all see that?
Look. They
Teddy Mahomes.
like when it like in the NBA, I can tell you when a guy's playing hard. I can tell you when he's focused, when he's locked in. I can tell you where we are in the course of the season, if it's game 45, if it's game 62, if it's game 73. Like, I can kind of tell where people are. Like, it's human nature. Like, you can't be your best every day. That's why it's incredibly rare for those athletes who can do that. But when you're at the top of the sport and it's like winning time, like Patrick Mahomes has had one bad half in his postseason career, y'all. That was the 2018 first half against the Patriots. It's the only bad stretch he's ever played in the postseason. Yes, I know they didn't score a touchdown in Super Bowl 55, but that was not his fault. The dude was excellent, okay? He was throwing parallel to the ground on dimes.
Oh man.
I don't know. I agree.
That Super Bowl was kind of
the Buccaneers one? No.
No, the Niners one. The Niners one.
No.
The first half?
No, I think
the first half was
the Niners.
First half was
the Niners.
I'd say the third quarter. I wouldn't say the first half. Hey, we was in the game the first half.
It was tied.
I mean, we was never out of the game, but I'm saying like the first three quarters, it was kind of.
I don't know. When it was 2010, it was looking kind of shaky.
Look, all I'm saying is they didn't score a single point against New England in 2018 in the first half. Didn't score a point.
Right.
So I think that's the worst half he's played in a postseason game. Yes, the third quarter was sort of weird because San Francisco was trying its best to like play ball control, sort of matriculate the ball down the field, try to get a lead. Which they were building pretty well. I don't know, man. Like the dude, it's a shock for a reason when he plays poorly, and you haven't even seen that necessarily in a postseason game. So I don't know, man. But when
you know what? Another thing to even further your point, we were questioning Kansas City for sleepwalking through the regular season last year. Yeah. They barely beat Atlanta last year.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being a big thing on the show with us.
Mm-hmm.
And before he was hurt against Cleveland, they looked like
he was going to blow.
Oh my God! And then Buffalo, they looked like oh my God! And I fully expect it to go another level in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, people need to be reminded that he was dealing with a foot injury or the turf toe. Against Buffalo, and he was coming off the concussion protocol. And yeah, he was really good that day.
Really good.
He was really good. I remember people in Buffalo being like, well, when the Chiefs played the Bills the first game, they didn't have Matt Milano. And I was like, I mean, Matt Milano's a really good player, but like Matt Milano had a free rush on this man. He does a little wiggle. And there's another dime to Kelsey, and it's just like, oh, well, now Matt Milano has understood what it's like to play against Patrick.
Wasn't it 28 unanswered against Buffalo?
24,
28.
Sounds right, yeah. I mean, they had the lead at halftime, even though they were down 9-0. Like early in the second quarter. So I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I mean-
Buffalo got up to 9. McCole had that little thing, and then
yeah,
they worked him back in the game, and then it was curtains after that.
yeah. So I mean, I just want to tell other teams if they do see the Chiefs in the postseason, like prepare to score 35 because it's just what's going to be required unless something very unusual happens, which is obviously like not having your lineman or some turnovers or some penalties, like whatever. Like some of it will be Kansas City's own fault, but like every opponent should go in being like, we need 35 points. Bengals scored 34 on Sunday. Like I think you could take that as a straight formula as to like don't turn the ball over, and you need 34 to 35 points, and hope you get the ball last too.
Hey Nate, I got a question for you. Do you think we finally see Kyle Long this week?
That's a really good point, Boogie. He has not played a snap, I believe, this season. He's kind of been activated for the second half of the year, but he had I believe it was the tibia or fibula. I can't remember which one, but he had that injury before camp, missed basically training camp, preseason, half of the regular season. If the Chiefs get any kind of lead, if they can put a lot of the reserves in, like, yeah, it would be wise to give Kyle Long some snaps because you never know. I mean, it's really unfortunate that Eric Fisher had his Achilles tear basically when the game was already won. I remember my dad calling me as I was driving. Like, my dad called me. I called him back as I was driving from the stadium, and I remember my dad being like, I'm really concerned because a torn Achilles, that obviously could have been career ending, and thankfully he's with he's doing pretty well with the Colts. But I remember my dad being like, we ain't got nobody to play the tackle. And at least this year, with Joe Thuney doing it last week, Kyle Long has played tackle before in his career. Obviously, it's been a while because he's coming out of retirement. So yeah, I would look to get him some snaps in the second half if you can, because I believe Orlando Brown is going to play. It's just a matter of like, all right, you feel good? You good? All right, get out because we need you guys. Like, get out of the game.
So you saying we might have some Henny time this weekend?
It would be a good sight for the Chiefs, because I think if the Chiefs should kind of want tomorrow's game to go the way it went against Pittsburgh, like get a lead, build on that thing. The game's basically over by halftime. You can just hand the ball off to Derek Gore, get him some more reps basically, and then you can start to pull everybody off the field to give guys more snaps in the second half. If Denver makes this thing like really ugly and like it's 17-13 in the third quarter, then your plan isn't working out the way you thought it would.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real quick. We're gonna be facing Drew Lock this time. I think the Chiefs they should learn. They should learn from last time to stack the box against Javonte and Melvin Gordon and make Drew Lock throw the ball. And we pretty much all in agreement that Drew Lock is not a good quarterback. I've been saying he's not a good quarterback. I watched him enough in Mizzou. He was putting up numbers against them mid to lower grade college teams, but majority of the time those big games, he was getting murdered basically. Didn't really show up. He only had like one big win in college. So I'm looking at this injury.
He is playing for his career though, bro.
I mean, this is taped to be a backup, in my opinion. This is taped to be a guy that you can rely upon. Now, everybody will want to be, everybody in Drew Lock's situation will want to be the next Ryan Tannehill. Where you go to another team, you get a chance, and then hey, all of a sudden you've revitalized your career. But yeah, I would tell Drew Lock if nothing else, son, don't turn the ball over. Like if nothing else, give us a chance, make us competent, keep our organization moving forward, not backwards in terms of penalties. Get the guys that sort of believe in you. Because that'll be an interesting thing too. Like they don't have a lot of guys on defense playing on Sunday.
13 now.
Yeah, they corners.
I'm predicting a dirty
Sertan's
dance
out,
special.
Darby's out.
Yeah, so they don't.
Kareem Jackson's out.
So hey, we are contractually obligated to play this game.
Yeah.
make me believe that I want to play hard in the first quarter, Drew. Like,
Hey,
make us
hey,
believe.
what they call it in space, where it's like, all right, you whatever you bet your book, that's what you.
Give me my
That's
book.
what,
Just take it.
what do they call it?
Oh
What
God,
do they call that? Who plays spades?
it's not. You're not talking about reneging, right? You're not talking about like.
No,
Yeah.
not reneging. It's like you win 6, I win 6. Okay, we gonna just take that bet and we'll play the next hand. I forgot. Never mind.
Oh.
We taking away black cards.
Yeah, I'm about to say black
I
card
do know how to
revoked.
play spades, bro.
Black card revoked.
Oh, my fault, RJ.
The best thing is when you say how many you got? How many you got? You got 5? You better have 5. You better have 5 books in your hand.
Blind, no, not blind.
Don't be setting me up to fail. You know.
See,
Don't
look, blind 12 is
Blind
when you
12, yeah,
down
okay,
6 and you bet. No, bro, no, it's not blind 12.
Yeah, so
I know how to play spades.
no, but like it's but yeah, I mean we'll see. I just
Do we really have to play this game? I mean,
yes, we gotta play this game.
Why?
We have to play
No
this
injuries.
game.
No
Because
injuries.
we gotta
we
win.
might see Shane play this weekend.
you want the 2 seed. You gotta win the game. And by the way, the league did not help you, right? Like had this game been played on Sunday, you maybe you could scoreboard watch, but now the league is like you got to play on Saturday, which means you got to win, and Patrick's got to play. You know, Chris Jones has got to play. Tyrann Matthews got to play. Like
Chris Jones need a sack, right, for that $1 million incentive.
Yeah, for the
$1.25 million bonus.
Yep.
And Denver's on their backup
think he gets it?
guard too, right?
Better get it done in the first half.
Yeah,
he
Rizzo
gonna get that on the first drive.
Hey, coach.
Remember where Kareem needed how many yards did Kareem need to lead the league?
I think it was 26. 30? Yeah, it was like 26 or 30, somewhere in there. And he got it on the first drive too, I believe.
I think it was the very first carry, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was early. So
yeah.
hey, coach, I know I'm supposed to take care of the B gap. I'm gonna go through the A gap. I'm gonna get this sack real quick.
We on incentive watch, AB watch.
Oh man, let's not go there. No, but Nate, I want to ask you about the incentive-based contract stuff because I was on Clubhouse last week after the Dallas-Arizona game. That was the first time I've been on there the Blue Moon. I want to shout out Women's Watching Sports Live because I was in a room and they had Tyrone Poole in the room, and I asked him about the incentive-based contract stuff and what he thought about it. He said he's not really a fan of it because, you know, how the business is in NFL, you know, sometimes they'll treat players like a certain way, like, you know, owners become billionaires or stay billionaires for a reason. Like there's certain players, they'll like reduce their snaps just to purposely make them not hit their incentive. So like, what do you think about the incentive-based contracts overall, in your opinion?
Your agent needs to tell you what the situation is. Your agent needs to. You need to really understand if you're going to set something up in an incentive-based nature that you're like one of the top dudes on the team. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of agents who have to remind the player, hey, you're on the depth chart, you're on the 2 line. Like you might be a starter, you might be a guy in the rotation. Hey, you may be their first option if somebody gets hurt. You know, for someone like Chris Jones, the incentives aren't necessarily a negative because he knows he's going to be on the field all the time. Like he is that valuable to the team. Therefore, those incentives, I believe, are more evenly agreed upon. Like, hey, we want you to get 10 sacks because that would make us be a great defense because we paying you $20 million a year. Can you please go get 10 sacks? And for Chris Jones, it's like, hey, I did my job. I got rewarded. And I knew I was going to get plenty of opportunities to accomplish whatever was in the incentive. Here's the issue when you get to a certain stage in your career. And the person that I think about a lot is Sammy Watkins in terms of last year with his contract. You know, he returned to the team. He wanted to stay with the team. The market was not really like wild for veteran wide receivers because Jamar Chase was coming out of the draft. Like there were so many guys that were like, or even this is 2 years ago. If this was like Jerry Jeudy and those guys, like there was so many young talented receivers. Hey man, you could still catch passes from Patrick Mahomes. You could still be on a winning team. Hey, you guys could go back to back. In order to do that, though, the way the salary cap is working, some of this has got to be incentive based. And you're like, that's great, but that's like your best season. Like, there's a reason those incentives are sort of like, who gets the AFC Championship game, or we win the Super Bowl, or you get like 850 yards, which, look at your stats, kind of can go either way. I understand Poole's point about, hey, snap count distribution, but also if a team knows your whole medical history, because you've been on their team the last several years, they know how good you are at getting treatment. And I'm not saying this is like anything that's like, I mean, Sammy did everything that he could do based on my understanding, but it's a violent sport. Like, you may not play all 16 games. And there go the incentives. And so now that isn't equated to the cap. Now we can roll some of that salary cap over to next year. I mean, it's an interesting part of the business because the NFL is a business first and foremost. But I think agents tell the player this is the most amount of money you can make with the incentives involved. And that's the best I could do for you based on the situation of which team you could be on, or where you want to be in that nature. At the same time, though, there's a reason that this is incentive-based and not in the deal at the moment.
Guaranteed.
Yes, at the moment you sign.
Right. Got you. Yeah, and I remember there's another guy, Mike DeVito actually talked about it on his one-on-one podcast with Jeff Allen earlier the week.
Mm-hmm.
He had a incentive-based deal too, and I think he was supposed to play like 60% of the snaps, and he would have got a $500,000 bonus or something like that.
Ooh.
And I think the last game was against Buffalo, and he didn't play in the first half. He didn't play till like the third quarter, and he almost pulled like a A-B sort of. He almost decided not to go out there because just the way the Chiefs did him on the snap count type of deal. So yeah, man, that incentive-based contract is tough.
I remember Victor Cruz talking about that too.
Yeah, which then this is when there's arguments between players and agents. Well, why is my deal like this? Well, this was the best I could do for you, but it's based on snap counts. Well, hey, I'm not the coach, man. I'm not, and so it's a business. It's unfortunate. I hate that all the people that we respect and admire who perform at this high level of the sport. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, even the Antonio Brown situation, like obviously he's put out his thoughts on what happened. And if that's true, like that's tough. Like if his ankle was really that bad and they knew it was that bad and they were like, can you play? What's going on with the coach-player relationship, But if you do that on top of the money, on top of the incentives that he had in his deal, that man must have been through a lot of pain. Or mentally he was in a place where he couldn't think big picture-wise. But you're in the middle of a football game against the Jets, and if we lose to the Jets, that's an embarrassment. And now you want me to go potentially hurt my ankle when I could be a free agent next year, which I believe he would have been a free agent next year had his deal gone through the life of the contract, through the course of the regular season. Like you're trying to think of all these things in as little time as possible sometimes. I mean, some agents like to say, hey, this is not enough for my guy. And then the team will say, okay, well, there's only 32 of us. And that's an issue. There's only 32 teams. There's only 32 jobs for some of these guys. And there's always a new wave of talent that's younger, that's cheaper based on the salary cap, CBA structure. But I just wish that when players agree to an incentive, don't count on that money. That money is a bonus, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, Nate, just so we can, cut short on time a little bit, just to kind of wrap things up. So how we all in agreement that the Chiefs gonna win that game?
I got Broncos.
You see, Boogie, shut up. All right, so now, how do you see this AFC playoff picture turn out in the end? Who do you think is going to all get in?
All right, I'm gonna be logical. I'm gonna say the Chiefs will win. They'll be the 2 seed. I'm gonna say Tennessee will win. They'll be the 1 seed. All right, then it gets a little tricky. Now, Joe Burrow is not playing, so I'm gonna take them down. I'm gonna say Buffalo is probably the 3 seed.
Okay.
Who's Buffalo playing this week? Hold on, Nate.
Let me look here real quick for you.
They play the Jets.
Yeah, okay. Let's give them a dub. Let's give them the win. Cincinnati I believe is playing Cleveland. That can go either way. Cleveland has nothing to play for. Baker Mayfield's not playing that game. That is a actual preseason game in Week 18. Good Lord.
Case Keenum might ball out though.
Some could argue that Case Keenum should have been starting about a month ago.
Yeah, I know a Browns fan personally wanted Case Keenum in there.
Baker, he just didn't look right. Like I mean, Baker Mayfield's tough. Not going to deny that. But like when you're not healthy, you're not helping your team. And it looks like he wasn't healthy. Obviously, he's gonna have surgery here. So I'm gonna say Titans 1, Chiefs 2. Let's give the Bills a 3 seed. And they'll win the division. So that means Cincinnati will be the 4 seed, having won their division. Then I'm going to go Patriots 5. This is when it gets tough, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Pittsburgh needs a miracle, so I'm going to remove them from the list. I'm going to say, I'm looking at conference records now. Look at this. Where is this conference record?
And who does the Colts play, fellas?
Jacksonville. They better win that game.
Yeah, they haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014. By the way,
I'm gonna give them a win. I'm gonna just hand the ball to Jonathan Taylor 1,000 times. I don't care what it takes. So I'm gonna say Indy as the 6th and the Chargers as the 7th.
Okay.
Which means Chiefs Chargers Monday Night Football. Where we all began this show.
So, Boogie, do you got a top 7 in mind? How it's gonna play out?
I think that's pretty accurate. I think Chargers will win. I think it's gonna be the same. I agree with that.
Country, do you got anything different?
Yeah, unless the Raiders don't Raider, then it might get ugly.
So you got Chiefs versus Colts?
Now you get Chiefs versus Colts if the Raiders win, because obviously they beat the Colts like we talked about earlier. So I mean, look, another scenario could be Chiefs win, Titans lose. All of a sudden, Chiefs are the 1 seed, Titans are the 2 seed. Buffalo will be the 3, Cincinnati would be the 4, New England 5, Raiders 6, Indy 7. I mean, that could happen.
All right, so I'm about to shot the viewers here on Kingdom Cast right now. I'm rooting for chaos, and I think we see chaos in Week 18. This may be the fan in me, but it's possible it can happen. All right, so the Chiefs, they're going to win their game, and I truly believe Houston can sweep Tennessee. Like, let's go Rex Burkhead. Let's go Brandon Cooks. Let's go Davis Mills.
Mills.
Listen,
Davis Mills the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's what you're asking.
I'm with you.
Yeah. This might be Fitzpatrick part 2, man. Because look, Davis Mills, he's actually been the best rookie quarterback.
There you go. Yeah.
He's actually been the best rookie quarterback in the league this year, low key. So, I'm gonna roll with that. And then, as far as like the final 2 seeds, man. Oh man, I think Baltimore got a chance for that wild scenario to happen. Like, real talk, I really think Jacksonville might mess around and beat Indianapolis again, man. Like, Indy's got to show me they can win in Jacksonville again. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
Lamar in the playoffs so bad.
Chuck, if I was on Jacksonville, I would mentally already be on a beach somewhere. There ain't no way.
Sure.
No. Like, if Indy loses that game in Jacksonville, come on. I mean,
listen. I'm telling you, dog. I'm telling you, it's a good chance that can happen, man.
Thank you,
like,
Paul.
Listen, like you don't have Urban Meyer there no more. All right, you can play loosely. You got nothing to lose.
Caicos though, I'm already I'm already in Abu Dhabi. I'm already like.
Cabo
Granted, we're
Books.
now. By the way, fellas, we're in a Jacksonville Jaguars. We're in a pandemic. Please be safe. Like, maybe go to Miami. Like, I'm mentally already in my car driving to Miami, trying to live a safe life outside on a beach. Socially distanced. But if I was a DB in Jacksonville, please hand the ball off, and I'll make all the business decisions necessary with Jonathan Taylor.
Yo, I'm just saying, styles make fights, and Indy been struggling with their style a little bit the past few years. I'm just saying.
Hold on,
and then
Baltimore
you got the final
Pittsburgh,
scenario.
right?
Man.
Yes, yeah, they play Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Big Ben get packing them
They can
up.
win. They can win with Tyler Huntley. I think they can win with Tyler Huntley. Come on, man. Ben just barely threw for over 100 yards with 43 passes on Monday night. Stop it. Anyway,
This is last game.
the
man.
final.
Who knew Chuck was drinking during the podcast? I didn't even know.
I'm not drinking. I'm telling y'all. This is set up for some chaos here.
Unless you gonna loan Lamar Jackson a new ankle, even if they did win, they gonna get smacked when they get in there.
Hey, it is what it is, man. But the last team that's gonna get in is the Raiders, dog. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be stomping on Justin Herbert's grave when the Raiders beat the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. And I'm gonna be back to say, I told you so. Because I said weeks ago, after the Raiders stole one from the Cleveland Browns, I said, do not be surprised if the Raiders backdoor they win. They got the spirit of John Madden running through their football team right now. I know they got all this off the field stuff going on. They can't handle the Vegas lifestyle, but they've been grinding out victories. Their defense been playing better. Josh Jacobs been getting it going. And then you got Darren Waller coming back. And you know how the Chargers do against tight ends. They not good against the tight ends.
Look, I love John Madden. I can't stand by this. No, I cannot.
Nate, I'm gonna come back to your mentions if this happens. I'm gonna come back to your mentions if this happens. I'm gonna play this clip. I'm gonna play this very clip.
Come on,
if it happens.
No. If the Raiders win, win, we got to do an emergency podcast. Nate, I don't care where you at. You got to drop what you're doing.
I'll be here on Sunday.
We got to come back and talk. If the Raiders win, we got to go live immediately.
I'm texting Chuck in the second quarter when the Chargers are already up 14. Come on now.
It's Vegas, dog. It's Vegas, man. I'm telling you.
Chargers C-Dot, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get on Carrington too. Oh my goodness. Man. Woo, boy.
Yeah. So I don't know. No, I can't see that.
Hey Nate, man, we appreciate having you, man. You've been a day one guy, day one supporter, man. We certainly appreciate you. Somebody commented on you. I don't know if it was a Spaces or a podcast. It's a very lofty title, though. They say you are the closest thing to Therese that we have. Yeah. I know we bring that up all the time. It's not just because y'all both black, y'all both. It's not that. It's like
that was my guy.
Y'all both got that same type of spirit, that same type of love.
Yeah.
To help the little guys out, because we the little guys, I guess. But y'all got that same type of that drive in y'all. And we just appreciate you, man. We appreciate you as a fan base, as fellow media guys.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying? So we try to get you on the show. The first time was great. The second time was like, yo, I gotta go out with my wife.
It was it was date night. It had
smart man, happy wife, happy life. But nah, man, we definitely appreciate you, man. And thanks, man, for everything. It's been a hell of a season, a hell of a ride. You did a great job this year, you know what I'm saying? So it was looking ugly for a while, but we got it back together.
We did. No, thank you for having me. It's great. I love all the comments. I appreciate everybody. Look, Kansas City.
You gotta show your Monarch shirt before you go, though.
I mean, Kansas City is home. You know, I went to Satchel Paige Elementary School back in the day, so in a weird way, it feels like my civic duties to try to give everybody as much knowledge and information about the team. Obviously, they're obviously very exciting. So there's always going to be something compelling. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate people that like I said before, anytime anybody wants to put me next to Therese, I mean that's saying a lot. So I appreciate it. Shout out to Ebony, who was today. It's I haven't talked to her in a while, but I know she's doing well. But yeah, there's the plaque of that the Chiefs did in honoring Therese in the press box before I go to my seat. Every home game now, I see that, and it's great, man. So we miss him to death. Obviously, I love him. He was really instrumental in my career. And so anytime I can talk football with y'all, yeah, man, it's great. It's a blast. It's easy, It's like none of this.
As long as it ain't date night.
As long as it's not date night. Y'all doing this on Friday does not help me because everybody in the NFL knows Friday night is the night because you do the practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's like, whoo, I can finally get out of the facility. I don't know. I'm not practicing. I'm not coaching, but I'm writing, and it's like they're not doing anything Saturday other than like a walkthrough and another film session team meeting, which they don't let reporters part of that. So it's like, hey, I got Friday night, whether it's home or away, and then sometimes in non-pandemic years, I could go to games on Saturday, or I would obviously hang out with family on Saturday. So we had it structured a certain way, but no, this Friday worked. It felt right. I'm glad y'all asked me. Lord knows we got way more to talk about the Denver Broncos game, but hey,
yeah,
that's it's a good thing. So I'll try my best in the playoffs to keep doing my civic duties for my hometown.
Hey man, we ain't got no worries over here.
How much fun would Therese have had with this AD situation?
Man, look.
Like there were I mean, it sucks to me that everybody has already talked about like how much they reminisce and love what John Madden means. Like the amount of times that I know, I don't know if Therese met John Madden, but I think part of being a Hall of Fame voter, he would have been in those circles. Like I never talked to him about Madden, like the person specifically, but like it would have been cool to hear Therese's thoughts on John Madden, in terms of what it was like for him, just like it was for all of us playing that game, hearing him. I think I remember Therese loving the 49ers Cowboys rivalries of the 90s and just how dope that was. And unless Brett Favre was amazing, it's just going to be Cowboys 49ers in the NFC Championship game for 5 straight seasons. So I remember him loving that. And obviously that involved Madden and Summerall back in the day. So yeah, there's always these things that I kind of think of, and it's man, it makes me think of Therese, which is a good thing, but it's also obviously very sad because it's just we can't talk to our guy.
Yeah, man, that's the only void that's missing right now, man.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah. And
let's wait for him.
You're right, and think about that. Yeah, and think about this. He was in the press box for Mahomes' first start against Denver in the 17, and I was told by a couple people like Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian, the dude was laughing because of the throws Patrick was making, and it was just oh yeah, the guy's real. The guy is actually real. So he understood before everybody did about what Patrick was going to do for the team.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Nate, thanks again for coming on with us, man. And also, man,
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Thank you. Yeah, same here.
And speaking of the Monarchs, man, shout out to Buck O'Neil, man. Finally made the baseball
Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer. It only took baseball 25 some odd
years.
Shout out to Buck. That's my guy back there in the bobblehead. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bobbleheads, it's National Bobblehead Day. So yeah, get one of
Oh
those Buck
God.
ones if they still available. You also get one of these
Oh,
too.
okay.
They still available at bobbleheadhall.com. So
Let's get it.
just wanted to play that real quick.
Incredible flex, my friend. Incredible flex. Just immaculate flexing.
Hey man, give the bobblehead away to our 200 subscribers or something like that, or 800 followers.
I got one to tuck somewhere. We can do that.
Yo, we'll see y'all Saturday after this win. I'm not even fathoming a loss. I just can't. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Denver, but their stars really not playing. They already locked up for next year. Drew Lock's trying to put some film on so he can be in Tampa Bay next year with Tom Brady as backup. So we will see y'all after the game, man.
Good job. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Don't
Appreciate
forget to like,
it, man.
subscribe, share, comment. Until the next episode, we out of here, y'all.
Man, we lose to Denver. I quit everything.